Mabuhay, Kamustiko, welcome, how are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Is being in love overrated? Thought I would do a video here with some questions you would see on Quora, such as, is being in love overrated? Please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea. I am someone who married a Filipino wife back in 2015. So we're just short of 5 years of marriage. And so I thought, well, excuse me, I found some questions that I thought would be interesting to talk about. And so I try to work them into my channel, which is about married love to Filipino wife, which I think would help men married to women anywhere. As with things being the way they are these days, I thought, well, maybe the world needs a channel with someone that is willing to talk openly about love and just try to help maybe guide people into a relationship with a woman from another country, because I know how incredibly difficult it can be to find somebody where you are. Still waiting for this codeine to work here. So the question I wanted to just talk about today was, is being in love still worth it? And well, you know, like a lot of these Quora questions, they don't give you all the details, so I'm going to have to try to fill in a little bit of that myself. Is being in love still worth it? Well, being in love is a wonderful thing. Maybe the question is alluding to the fact that sometimes it doesn't seem to always last, and so maybe it would be better to not be in love at all rather than be in love and get hurt. So of course it also doesn't talk about what the true definition of love is, and my understanding and definition of love is much less romantic and much more into actions. Romantic love is good, it's great, but how do you know at the outset that it isn't just infatuation? You know, young people get infatuated, they call it love. Excuse me. Just as much as older people get infatuated, and they might think it's love too. So it's an interesting question. You know, is it still worth it to be in love? You know, because it forces you to think about, what does that really mean? You know, what is love? I think my contention here, and you'll see this interwoven throughout the videos, is that love is more about action than it is feelings. I did do a video on 7 types of love when I was talking about, will a Filipina love her family more than you? And she's going to have a very strong cultural and human bond and connection to her family that might make a foreigner feel, you know, like second fiddle. But that's just one of the many cultural differences you get into with a woman from another country like the Philippines. But I still think it's worth falling in love. It's a great feeling. It's when you're first in love, that's all you think about. When I met my wife online, something I'd never done before, and had somebody to talk to when I got up in the morning and somebody to talk to when I went to bed, it was a wonderful experience. And then, of course, I wanted to take it a step further and meet her, which we decided to do, and also had predetermined to get married when I did meet her for the first time, which we did, and wrapped up the whole thing in less than 8 weeks, and now we're coming up on 5 years of marriage. So I can say that I'm still in love with my wife. You know, there's nothing that can replace those early days when you're falling in love. It's a wonderful thing, and if you can still say that you're in love after 5 years or 10 years, it's a wonderful thing. Just have to realize that sometimes it doesn't last, and it just might not be meant to be. And so you come out of it with a broken heart, and that feels so terrible, you never want to do that again. You might even tell yourself, well, I'm not going to look for another woman because my heart hurts so bad. I fell in love. I thought I had something going, and it didn't work out. I never want to feel this way again. Or maybe you've already done this a few times. And so you feel like, you know what? Yeah, it feels great to fall in love, but it's not worth it, and it doesn't work. It doesn't last. I would encourage people to not so much look for these feelings and how wonderful they are, but focus more on being the person that gives love. And that's, what the things you do, with your kindness, with your patience, by being unselfish, by focusing on the good of the other person. And all of this comes from 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8, where, it really tells you what love is. And it doesn't end because um, it doesn't have to be based on romance and or sexual feelings. There's a type of love like that. But eventually, like many things, that tends to fade. But if real love is based on, I'm going to be good to this person, I'm going to help them, be kind to them, give them a better life, raise a family with them, there will be disappointments, of course, but it is still worth it. And I think even if a person gets knocked off their feet, they pick themselves up off the mat, dust themselves off. I think they should keep going, keep trying to learn from all the experiences where it didn't work out, where you fell in love and then fell out of love. Um, just keep going. I always say in my channel, look for something permanent. And so I was very serious about that when I met my wife. I proposed to her on the 18th day. I wanted to settle down, didn't want anybody else. Just wanted somebody that would take marriage seriously, and I found somebody overseas. And now we're still married, and I can focus on building and maintaining the relationship that we already have. I would not want to go through another relationship. I think we're on solid ground now, going approaching 5 years of marriage. And for those, and I've been there before. I suppose I could even say I was in love with some people before that obviously those relationships were not meant to be, and it crushes your soul for a while. But if I had thrown in the towel and given up, I wouldn't have met my Aiza and got married to her in the Philippines. So Love Beyond the Sea is about many things. One of them is not giving up. Keep that desire to fall in love alive. Might have to try something different like I did and get away from American dating sites and just look for a woman in another country that might give you a better chance to get married. Love Beyond the Sea is also going to talk to you about, the inner workings of being married, dealing with your, emotions and attitudes, and, how to forgive and, deal with arguments and get along. Because if you don't handle those things the right way, then you're going to be on the side of falling out of love. Well, then you'll be saying, well, this didn't work. Well, I'm going to try the best I can in my channel to show you about things that do work in a relationship. Because we've all been through the things that didn't work. So, if you hear someone say, yeah, being in love is great, falling in love is great, but, I've been there and done that. It doesn't last. It doesn't work out. It's just not worth it. I disagree with that, and I would encourage you to sign up for Love Beyond the Sea. And over time and over the years, we'll learn about marriage together, and you can leave comments to videos. I have a WordPress blog site that the mysterious Mr. E developed for me. I think it's called Love Beyond the Sea. .wordpress.com. It'll be in the links here of this video, and it'll be talking about my videos will be there, Twitter, Facebook links, community corner message board, my wife's channel and things like that. So, just trying to answer this philosophical question: is it worth still to fall in love or to be in love? And I would say that the answer to that question is a resounding yes. However, to experience it, you might have to try something different and look for love beyond the sea.